From Panther Stadium on the campus of Starr's Mill High School, it is the Soccer Down Here Boys Game of the Week, our regular season finale, involving a region championship. The McIntosh Chiefs, head coached by legendary Bunky Colvin, going up against Aaron Buck and Starr's Mill. Starr's Mill coming into the match with a record of 7-7-1. McIntosh coming in with a record of 11-4-2. John Nelson here alongside the girls' match, having gone a little longer than the 80 minutes of regulation, went to the added 20 of overtime. 3-1 to McIntosh. So McIntosh gets the region championship on the girls' side, and now they chase after the double on the night. Your starting lineups and formation as we're heading into this. Starr's Mill will be starting in a 4-4-2. From the back in goal, it is Marcelo Quinones Villela. Defensive back four, Jacobo Velez wearing the captain's armband. Mason Stallings, Wyatt Stevens, and Jude Turpin. Your midfield four, Camilo Velez, Josh Sims, Casper Krabson Jensen, and Braden Brownell. Your two up top, Ollie Othman. And I cannot take credit for this, Chris the Burner Turner. In formation tonight for McIntosh, it'll be a 3-5-2. Jacob Gerson will be starting in net. Your defense will be a Nick Kakutsis at the back in the middle. He'll be your center back. Also on defense, it'll be Herman Hernandez off to his right, your right center, your right back, and your left back is Carter Groh, the junior defender. Your midfield is going to be Jacob Watuki, Matthew Yee, Judd Denny, Drew Stanton, and Caleb Kreitner, and Aiden Amaya. And your two up top are going to be Jacob Watuki, and it is going to be also up top Ben Slay. So you're once again your starting 11s. Villela in net, back four, Velez, Stalling, Stevens, and Jude Turpin, Velez, Sims, Krabson, Jensen, Brownell, Othman, and Turner. Your forwards for McIntosh in your 3-5-2, or for Starr's Mill. For McIntosh in your 3-5-2, in net, it is Gerson. Your numerical rundown is Kakutsis, Slay, Hernandez, Watuki, Yee, Denny, Drew Stanton, one of your captains, along with Watuki, Kreitner, Groh, and Amaya. So that is your look at your starting lineups for McIntosh and for Starr's Mill here. Bunky Colvin, his career mark of 4-11, 61, and 13. 52 goals scored for McIntosh this season, having given up only 20. Starr's Mill led in goals scored by Camilo Velez with 9. The junior midfielder, and leader in assists also Velez with 5. So 9 goals, 5 assists for the home side. Obviously the player to keep an eye on, the 10 for Starr's Mill. Players to watch, Matthew Yee leads the team in assists, second in goals. You'll be keeping an eye on him for corners. Drew Stanton most of the year at center back. He'll come out against Starr's Mill, get into the attack. You look at Watuki and Kreitner, and the action is now underway here from Starr's Mill here in the first half. Once again, McIntosh, they are in their dress whites. They are going from right to left as you picture the match in your mind's eye. Starr's Mill in their double blue. They are working their way from right. They're working their way from left to right, having to defend. So it'll be an early work for McIntosh here on the near side. Early throw as they work from right to left. And as anticipated, Drew Stanton, who is already lined up in lane 8 on the track, will be going all the way from lane 8 for the long throw, and it's basically on net, and he throws it over the crossbar.
Goal kick for the Panthers.
He was headed toward the near post, but he ends up throwing it over the crossbar, so we'll be seeing a lot of that from Drew Stanton tonight. Basically, big run up from lane 8 on the track, and then the stride to get to the near touchline for the throw. He had a lot on it. It ended up going over the net, so it'll be a goal kick for Starr's Mill as they work from left to right. Marcelo Quinones Viella, the senior, is hard to describe the keeper's jersey. We know sometimes when you look at keeper's jerseys trying to figure out who role models are, the only thing that I can describe it with basically is like the old Zubaz designs from the 90s. And you have the blue and yellow zebra stripes at about a 30-degree angle on the keeper's jersey. So physical play that we saw in the first match, taking right center stage here in the second match as we're 2 minutes in. Advantage being played off a takedown from about 40 yards away from goal. Shot from one of the back defenders, hitting Starr's Mill compatriots square in the face. That's going to be an early shot that'll be a reminder for later. So a throw for McIntosh as they work their way from right to left. Mason Stallings with the touch. Work from Camilo Velez, the junior. We've discussed him and his efforts so far this season at 9-5. Last touched as the player for Starr's Mill lost his footing. 2 minutes and 45 seconds in. Looks like it was Chris Turner who lost his footing here on the near side, so it's going to be a throw for McIntosh. Long throw up the near touchline. Sent back in a defensive posture from where it came from by Jude Turpin, the senior defender. So it looks like maybe gaining 10 yards or so. Throwing again as you're aiming for Matthew Yee and Ben Slay. Matthew Yee lets it go. It's going to be a throw 10 yards from center line in their own defensive portion from Jude Turpin. The back and forth continuing here, 3.5 minutes in. Unable to keep control, Jude Turpin for Starr's Mill. It's going to be a throw for Herman Hernandez. Up and over Turpin. Looking to grab toward the 6. Knocked away. Cut in toward the middle, deflected, and it's going to be grabbed by Quinones Vela off the deflection. Good sense of command by Marcy, as the chant is from the student section, to keep an eye on it so it doesn't go a direction it's not supposed to, and then goalward here as we're now in the 5th minute. 35-50 and counting here in the first 40. Judd Denny trying to spin away from traffic in Starr's Mill, and the Panthers will send it all the way down, looking to try to get something done toward the near corner, about 30 yards from goal. Last touched by Starr's Mill. It's going to be McIntosh once again with the big throw. Right towards center line. Denny going up against 2 Starr's Mill defenders. One of them Jude Turpin. And they're going to say that it was last touched by Starr's Mill. So Matthew Yee will get things done quickly for McIntosh. Launched away by the defensive Starr's Mill, so once again throwing. Looks like this time it's going to be Kukutsis for McIntosh. Looking to go over the shoulder of Judd Denny. Denny will grab, tries to cut it back onto his right foot, poked away, and it's going to be yet another throw for McIntosh, which means that we will see Drew Stanton dialing long distance here. The junior defender midfielder with the long reach that he has is a true weapon for Bunky Colvin and Brian Messer and for McIntosh. Launches it far post over everybody. Tried to be chipped in toward the mixer once again by Matthew Yee. And it's last touched by Starr's Mill as Yee sent it in. So it's going to be a corner for McIntosh, and Yee will be the one to take. Right hand raised by Yee, sends it in, looking toward the top of the 6th, headed up into the air, through the box. Well done to track it down, Caleb Kreitner, but he can't quite get around two Starr's Mill defenders. Great work there through the legs and the nutmeg by Camilo Velez, backtracking defensively to stem that push from McIntosh. But McIntosh regaining possession about 50 yards away from goal, 10 yards inside their attacking half. Velez wants to cycle through the gears. 3 McIntosh players are there, but once again, the intensity by Josh Sims sticking with the play. Kept possession for Starr's Mill briefly. And Caleb Kreitner called for the foul as, once again, Kreitner does well defensively to stand up Velez initially. But Velez fouled. They do call it that time, the second time that McIntosh tries to work their way through, and so you're going to have a set piece as Velez tries to get the crowd into it early on. Camilo Velez from about 30 yards away, about a 45-degree angle over on the far side from 30. Into the three-person wall for McIntosh. He regains control, wants to try to chip it inside the 18. McIntosh defense is saying it was last touched by Camilo Velez, and it was. So it'll be a throw for the visitors here, 32 and a half minutes to go first half. Thanks for accessing us however you are doing so, large device or small. Great to have everybody here for their first time here with the SDH Network and the Soccer Down Here Game of the Week. If you've been following us through our high school schedule this season, this is season number 3 for us. This is our regular season finale, and thanks to everybody who's been a part and parcel to it. Once again, another early foul called on McIntosh, and it's going to be called that time on Jacob Watuki. So another set piece, more central this time, from just inside 40. We'll see what Starr's Mill has in mind here with this particular opportunity. Another 3-man wall for McIntosh halfway through the 9th minute. 2 standing behind for Starr's Mill. Now it's only 1. Chipped in, but easy to read, easy grab there for Jacob Gerson, the sophomore. Yee tries to spring it up the left-hand side. Had Slay. 2 defenders were there for Starr's Mill, and so the Panthers will come back the other way. Up their attacking left-hand side. Jacobo Velez tried to skip a line. Focus was there for McIntosh to keep that rush from happening. Well done by Denny to close things down. Watuki's there to help out with the distribution. Big sweeping ride up and over the lines by Amaya. Out of his net was Marcy Viella. And they're going to say it was last touched by McIntosh. McIntosh is saying that Viella touched it last. He did not. It looks like it's going to be a goal kick. And just when you don't have any soccer balls near you, you end up with 2 very, very quickly. So Viella introduces it as we come up on 10 minutes gone here from Starr's Mill. Goalless between the Panthers and McIntosh. Once again, region championship being chased after here. 1s and 2 seeds. National power McIntosh likes to challenge themselves with their non-region schedule. So depending on where you look in the Max Preps polls, they are anywhere from top 20 to top 40. And when you look at the pedigree of McIntosh, region record 5-0, 11-4-2 overall, skipping lines up and over. Marcy Viella's there. So an easy grab for him, and that continues as we're past the 10-minute mark. 8 state championships, third most in Georgia history, all classifications behind Westminster and Pius. They've been a finalist 6 times, and they've won 20 region championships. Once again, you look at Bunky Colvin's career record, 4-11, 61, and 13. One of the true legendary figures when it comes to coaching, regardless of sport here in the state of Georgia. Camilo Velez trying to do some chipping up and over defenders, trying to work the ball down past center line. McIntosh staying with Velez and his ideas. Had him crowded. He really couldn't go a whole lot after he had the initial lift and chip. So McIntosh with possession. Watuki again center, right in center circle. Getting help from Herman Hernandez to his left, but the double team is there from Starr's Mill. And Starr's Mill will work it forward. 10 yards short of center line. Defense is there for McIntosh. Flicked on, and the grab there for Gerson. And Gerson ushering all of his players forward. Foot into football. Hits it just past center circle. Matthew Yee trying to win the second ball. Ben Slay ends up winning the third ball for McIntosh. Chipped up and over. Yee was there, but so is the defense for Starr's Mill. 2-on-1. Clearing it away, so it'll be a throw for McIntosh. About 30 yards or so over on the far side away from goal. And once again, Drew Stanton lining up as far away as he possibly can outside of lane 8 with about a foot to go toward the fence. So he's about 25 yards away, closing it to 20 on his diagonal run. Throws it in looking near post, had a bit of loft on it, headed up and out. And finally out of the 18, and there to do it is Camilo Velez. Tries to send it with his left. It was blocked by Aiden Amaya. Second chance, didn't work. Here comes McIntosh. Chip with the left, up and over, looking for Matthew Yee. There's too much there, so it'll end up being a goal kick for Starr's Mill. 26:55 and counting here in the first half, so 14th minute. And once again, the chippiness, not necessarily a surprise. The back and forth, not necessarily a surprise. When you have region rivals like this that want to challenge themselves and each other in the region finale, as they're all chasing after 1s and 2 seeds, getting ready for the postseason. Charge down the left-hand side by Camilo Velez, 5 yards shy of center line, last touched by McIntosh, so Starr's Mill will keep possession. Chipped in toward the center. Shoulder-to-shoulder contact, says center ref, no foul call. You hear the Starr's Mill fans' reaction to that. Matthew Yee with a 360 to spin out of trouble. Great cross, but well guarded there in center field by Jude Turpin, backtracking nicely to keep that from being an opportunity for McIntosh. McIntosh, though, winning the second ball. Caleb Kreitner dribbling out of trouble, looking for a partner. Big switches there from Watuki. Dribble in toward the middle. Sent back towards center line. Pass is picked off by Starr's Mill. Well blocked as a last resort by Carter Groh, because the sight was there for Casper Krabson Jensen. He knew that he had a teammate going right down center line, up and over the top, but the block got there first. So it was a great idea. They'll probably end up going back to that later. Gerson, foot into football towards center line. First touch was Starr's Mill. Second touch is McIntosh. 15 minutes gone now into the 16th minute. Up and over the top. Yee is chasing. Getting there first once again is Jude Turpin. Turpin back to Quinones Viella, and he'll hang on. Three bounces into the turf. Marcy puts his right foot into the football. First headed contact by McIntosh. Judd Denny could not keep control, the junior midfielder. So quick throw in by Starr's Mill, flick toward the center off the header. And the only people are there that are McIntosh people, but stepping into the play, Jude Turpin, nicely done. And once again, staying put, Ben Slay, the best defense that you could have in a situation like that off a turnover, just stood his ground, and the pass from Chris Turner went straight into his left leg, knocked away, and it ends up going back to McIntosh here as we're now in the 17th minute. Jude Turpin right at center line here on the near side. Josh Sims trying to dribble out of trouble, does so to his left. Working up the left-hand side. Starr's Mill, once again, stout defending by McIntosh, trying to work up the right-hand channel to Matthew Yee. Can Yee track it down? He does, about 20 yards away from goal. Yee on the step-overs, maintains possession. Ball popped up into the air as he was looking for Caleb Kreitner, and here comes Starr's Mill once again, trying to skip some lines. Well defended by the Chiefs, back in behind Herman Hernandez. To regain possession for McIntosh. Watuki, center circle, off to his right. Chip from Watuki. Trying to find Matthew Yee. Yee forced to defend now, 10 yards or so from center line. Sticks with the play, ends up gaining possession. Well done by Yee that time. Caleb Kreitner swinging with the right, trying to keep it from going over the touchline near center line. Sends it down a good 30, 35 yards, and it'll be a deep throw over on the far side for McIntosh. As they say, it was last touched by Starr's Mill. You're probably looking at about 30 yards from goal. Short throw this time from Drew Stanton. Yee was in the middle of it all. Stanton, right-hand side. Step overs. Well defended by Starr's Mill. Didn't get lost in all of the step overs. Stood your ground. And once again, we've seen that happen more than once tonight. Defenders making sure that they keep their ground and they're not distracted by all of the fancy footwork. You end up with possession over time. Matthew Yee tried to spring Judd Denny. Didn't quite happen. And here comes Camilo Velez down the left-hand side. Tried to send it over the top. Picked off by McIntosh. Quick passing. Amaya. Stanton. Working at center circle to Matthew Yee. Yee finds Watuki. Crabson Jensen was marking him. Quick 1-2. Through ball. Denny tries to send it in. Far post through Marcy Viello, and he gets the save. Pushes it forward, but not all the way out. Carter Groh tried to send it back into the 18. Knocked away by Starr's Mill that time in defense. And so that means that Drew Stanton re-enters the fray. Coming up on the 20th minute. Not quite to the halfway point here in the first 40. Stanton. Lane 8. All the way through to the touchline. Looking far post. Viello clears and in. Knocked it down, tried to clear it. Jacob Watuki was there for the rebound as soon as it hit the turf. Watuki with the goal at 20:45. And so Watuki sends it in, and McIntosh leads it 1-0. Jacob Watuki and a handful of his teammates were right there as the initial ball was knocked down by Marcelo Quinones Viella. Viella got first touch. He didn't get hands around it, knocked it down to the ground. Jacob Watuki was there. And Watuki, the junior captain, puts it in the back of the net for the goal for McIntosh, and they've got the early 1-0 lead. And that raises the question in return for Aaron Buck and Starr's Mill. How do you respond after going down 1-0, after you've played once again, much like we saw in the girls' game, stout defensively for the first 20 minutes, and then you have a moment where McIntosh takes full advantage. And they now have a 1-0 lead. Up and over the top. 2 bounces. Well controlled that time in defense as Ben Slay was chasing for McIntosh. Great work to keep possession by Starr's Mill. But just as tenacious defensively was Carter Groh trying to win possession back for the Chiefs. And Starr's Mill eventually does gain possession back. Throw in over on the far side, looking for Velez. Aiden Amaya swings at it with the right, looking for Ben Slay as he was going down the right-hand side. And it's given to Drew Stanton. So let's see as Stanton adjusts, as he reties his shoes. Over on the far side once again, just a minute or so ago, same situation. Let's see if Stanton tries the same thing to launch toward the top of the sixth this time. Hits the ground twice and ushered by the Starr's Mill defense over to Quinones Vela. And he has both hands on it. Shoots a line drive after two bounces towards center line. Keeping possession, Starr's Mill up the left-hand side. Trying to get something going. But McIntosh still down the right-hand side. Pass intended for Slay. Intercepted. But the tenacious defensive McIntosh regains possession just as quickly as they lose it. Slay sends it back to Stanton. In the middle, it's Watuki. Watuki got credit for the first goal on the board. Looking for Yee toward the top of the box. Chipped and just misses up and over. Quinones Vela just up and over the crossbar. Goes off the football crossbar. And it's going to be a goal kick as we're now coming up on 17 and a half minutes to go here in the first half. So halfway through the 23rd minute. It is 1-0 McIntosh. Well done to anticipate by Caleb Kreitner that time, trying to win possession away. Matthew Yee gets fouled about 50 yards away, straight away from goal. So let's see how quickly McIntosh wants to get things going with a free kick, and they don't. They'll cool their heels for just a little bit, let things get set up. Let's see who is there to take. Looks like it's Aiden Amaya, the junior defender. High line, right at the edge of the 18, up and over, looking for Judd Denny. Denny had gotten in behind the Starr's Mill defense, but he couldn't quite control the header. Sends it over the end line, goal kick. Once again, reminder when it comes to the Soccer Down Here app available on iOS and Android, any and all of the content that you hear, that you see as you scroll down on a daily basis, it's going to stay there. It's completely and totally archived. So if you want to go back and listen to any one of our games of the week, you can certainly do that just by scrolling back or using the search function. If you want to listen to a particular team or a particular subject matter, all you have to do is go into the search function and hit your keyword search, and you can listen to it. It just stays archived. It does not go away at any time. Any of our games that we broadcast, any of our weekly content, any of the Monday through Friday material, special interviews, that's always going to stay there. So you can always go back and listen later on the SDH app available iOS and Android. Foul called there on Starr's Mill. Just inside the McIntosh defensive half. And they're going to work quickly, trying to catch Starr's Mill napping. Krabson Jensen stays at home, about 30 yards away from net. Heads it backwards, but it went straight to Judd Denny, and it looks like there's going to be a foul called on Jude Turpin just in front of the Starr's Mill bench, just inside 50 yards away from goal here on the near side. Matthew Yee, quick start. Denny had Yee down to his left, tried to get around Ricardo Laycock. And the foul on Ricardo. So that sets up Aiden Amaya here from about 35 yards away, right here in front of us, just down from the Starr's Mill bench. Sends it in looking far post, up into the air, deflected once, twice, headed outside the area. Possession won back by McIntosh. Step overs, Matthew Yee, well defended that time by Starr's Mill, sent up the right touchline, does not go out of play. Sticking with it, McIntosh, but eventually won back by Starr's Mill, as both Yee and Ben Slay were down there trying to regain possession for the Chiefs as quickly as they possibly could. Yee launched it into two defenders for Starr's Mill, coming up on 14 minutes to go here in the first half. No foul call as Caleb Kreitner ended up being knocked onto the turf. Substitution set to check in for McIntosh. Looks like the first appearance for Alejandro Vasquez, the sophomore midfielder. And looks like Herman Hernandez checks back in as well. Kukutsis with the long throw down the near side, headed away by Krabson Jensen. Kukutsis gets engaged in the play, and looks like they're going to call a foul on Laycock again. As he and Kukutsis were chasing after the ball. Kukutsis starts it in very, very quickly. A lot of open space for Carter Groh. He took advantage of it. It was about 35 yards away from net before he was challenged by Starr's Mill. And it looks like the flag is up offside as it was sent in over on the far, recognized by the far AR. So it's going to be they're going to reset it in just inside the arc. As Starr's Mill has 12:47 and counting here in the first half. As they sit here and chase an equalizer, down 1-0, Jacob Watuki. With 20:45 to go here in the first half. Got the goal on the board for McIntosh. And McIntosh defensively regaining possession. Caleb Kreitner. Aiden Amaya. Here on the near side, about 15 yards away from center line in his own defensive half. Send it back to Kukutsis. Back to Gerson. Gerson with his right over to the far side. Advancing pass hit a Starr's Mill offensive player and just trying to get rid of it. Looks like there's going to be a foul call over on the far side near the corner flag as both players for Starr's Mill and for McIntosh were chasing it. And so it's going to be a foul and a set-piece opportunity for Starr's Mill coming up on 11:45 and counting here in the first half. Casper Krabson Jensen looks like he's going to take it. And it looks like 3 in the wall for McIntosh, being asked to back up for the full 10 yards by the center F. Krabson Jensen from about 22 or 3 yards away, a pretty sharp angle. So he chips it in, easy grab for Gerson. Winds up and throws baseball style, but as he was looking for Vasquez, Starr's Mill intercepted the pass, couldn't quite control it, so over on the far side once again, Drew Stanton will grab hold. Substitution for McIntosh. Zach Painter will check in, replacing Judd Denny here as we're now under 11 minutes to go here in the first half. Good dummy work by McIntosh, but they couldn't quite keep control. Watuki was responsible for the dummy, couldn't quite come back and regain possession. Now Starr's Mill up and over the top, well defended that time, but tracking it down and a foul on Starr's Mill as they try to gain possession inside the box. So great defending that time, great positioning by McIntosh that time to have only one option for Starr's Mill, and that was to try to commit the foul as we come up on 10 minutes to go here in the first half. Once again, reminder, this is for the region championship like it was for the girls. And once all the regions have been played and everything's been decided, you can go to ghsa.net. And they'll have all the brackets laid out for you. All the ones and twos and who's going to be hitting the road. As the roads to Five Star Stadium on the campus of Mercer University in Macon and Cantrell Stadium on the campus of McEachern High School are going to be a part of 4 days of championships this year and not 3. Kind of spread things out a little bit, so it's 4 championship days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. But go to ghsa.net. They should have all the brackets ready for you and let you see what is going on to your favorite club as they're chasing after a state championship. Foul called as Starr's Mill was charging down about just inside 30 yards away from goal. And it looks like Camilo Velez with the left and a lot of work behind it and a great save by Gerson to keep it 1-0. A lot of action behind that left from Camilo Velez. Had it read the whole way to the far post. Great opportunity there for Starr's Mill, but now it's going to be a corner over on the far post. Taken quickly, taken short. McIntosh forcing Starr's Mill to come about 40 yards away from their own goal. And Zach Painter looks like he's called for a foul and a card. So Zach Painter, with his challenge, is given a yellow at 8:11 to go here in the first half, and that will set up Velez again, coming back in, Judd Denny, for Bunky Colvin and for McIntosh. But Velez now from 30 yards away from goal, fairly straight on. The near side hash mark, if you're picturing a high school football field, and the turf surface here at Starr's Mill. So from the near side hash mark at about 30 yards away from net, Velez, as the wall isn't set and there's still a lot of jostling going on behind the center ref, there's a 4-man wall for McIntosh on the near side in front of Gerson. Whistle back in play, satisfied with how everybody looks. Velez, a lot of action punched up in the air. Another big save by Gerson for McIntosh. Up into the air, into the 18. Rattles around again. Starr's Mill keeps possession. But then the defensive McIntosh, once again working its way through, goes over the end line. Velez can't save it, and it looks like it's going to be a goal kick. Another great set piece off the left foot of Camilo Velez. Once again, that close to an equalizer in 1-1. Second time in just a handful of minutes for Starr's Mill to chase that equalizer. So under 7.5 to go here, first half. Gerson up into the air towards center circle. Student body for Starr's Mill in full throat tonight. On a Thursday night, spring break week in a lot of places. You got to give them a lot of credit here at Starr's Mill for showing up. The McIntosh student section here as well for these rivalry games. Rivalry game, region championship. 2 Fayette County schools going at it, and once again a reminder that tonight is the 12th annual Battle for the Troops. And it is, we had a flyover at the tail end of the girls' game. It means a lot here to the folks in this county when it comes to this initiative that is in its 12th year.
Number 10,
Matthew Yee checking back in for McIntosh, and Ben Slay checking out, the junior forward. The AR on the near side and the center ref having a bit of a discussion about what we don't know at present. So the clock is stopped at 6:40. And is it a discussion about the student section? And the coaches look like they're having a bit of a discussion. It probably is the student section, because the student section for Starr's Mill is directly behind, well, not directly behind, but fairly behind the bench of McIntosh. And so we have one of the ARs in discussion with the coaching staff of McIntosh. And so we'll see what the end result of the discussion is, if anything. No announcement from the PA. And the student section, the students that have been gathered for Starr's Mill are being asked to move. Not being asked, they're being told to move from being behind the McIntosh bench and where they're going, where they're being told to go. It might be the front row from everything else, but they're being told to move from their position behind the McIntosh bench, and they're being asked as a group to move a good 30 or 40 yards. Action's back underway while the student body of Starr's Mill is moving, dribbling through traffic very, very well. Herman Hernandez, but he lost possession just outside the area here on the near side. Crabson Jensen had it for Starr's Mill. He backtracked a little bit with his pass, given to Jude Turpin. Turpin being marked by Alejandro Vasquez. Vasquez creates a turnover, but not being able to keep it in possession for McIntosh is Watuki coming back the other side on a bit of a break. It is Starr's Mill. Knocked away by McIntosh, back to their own defensive half, about 10 yards in, advancing past 20 yards, now working up the left-hand side, trying to work its way, skip through a couple of lines. Last line of defense was there. Well done that time by Kukutsis, I believe. Over on the far side, just inside the box to create a throw-in from about 20 yards away from goal over on the far side. Second touch, looking far post, up and over, folks, dangerous. Chance for Starr's Mill there. Cleared away with the left, about 30 yards away from goal. Headed up into the air. Can Starr's Mill keep possession? No. Chested down by Yee. Yee volleys it overhead, bicycle style, and it ends up in their attacking half. Starr's Mill forced to defend once again as we come up on 5 minutes to go here first half. Another rush for the Panthers down the left. Another quick defense by McIntosh, and then trying to clear, Watuki made contact with a Starr's Mill player. And so quickly restarting is McIntosh. Yee had a little bit of room. Quick touch was there. Great idea by Denny to let Jude Turpin let the pass go through, so it was going to be a throw from about 25 yards away from goal. Alton Hote making his first appearance on the day, replacing Alejandro Vasquez, the junior forward, replacing the sophomore midfielder. And so that gives the time necessary for Drew Stanton to gain possession of the ball, just to the left of the student section for Starr's Mill having been moved. So Drew Stanton, once again, lane 8, up out of the stands. Big throw. Looks like he had a bit of a screwball throw to it, had a bit of an outside curve. And the shot was blocked by Starr's Mill defense over at the far, and it's going to end up being a corner over on the far side. Watuki looks like he will be the one to take for the visitors. 3.5 minutes to go here in the first half. So the end result of it all, with the movement the forced movement of the Starr's Mill student body. They had to go from 30 to 50 yards away from their seats behind their home bench. Foul called on the inside on the corner kick, and it's going to go back the other way, goal kick. About 7 bodies in a very short amount of space. And so a foul was called by the center ref on McIntosh, and Starr's Mill coming back the other way. We're now at 2:40 and counting in the first half. Crabson Jensen collides with Judd Denny. Denny, with a great dummy to maintain control, working his way down the left-hand side. 2 Starr's Mill players in pursuit. Crabson Jensen, well done to win the ball back away from Denny. But then collision happens again with Caleb Kreitner and Crabson Jensen, and they're going to call a foul on Kreitner. Great work by Crabson Jensen that time to keep possession. And Kreitner is called for the foul at 2:10 and counting here in the first half. The Watuki goal has been the difference with 20 minutes to go, basically right at about the halfway point of the first half. So Watuki's goal for McIntosh made it 1-0. That's where we are with about 2 minutes to go. We're under 2 minutes to go here in the first 40. Winner here, just like it was in the girls' match, gets the region title, gets the 1 seed, and that's what you want as long as possible in any playoff structure involving a bracket. You want to be at home and have folks come to you as much as possible. As McIntosh chases yet another state championship. Chipped in from just under 50 yards from goal by Starr's Mill. Sent back towards center line by McIntosh. Chasing was Hoti. He couldn't maintain control of it. Players hitting the turf. No whistle. Scooped ahead. Hoti with his first substantive touch. Tries to keep possession. Sends it backward to go forward over the top. Yee tries to control it with the first flick. He does. Second flick controlled by Starr's Mill. Denny now with possession, finds Yee just outside the area, and they're going to say that Yee was in an offside position, so it'll be a free kick for Starr's Mill coming up on 40 seconds to go here first half. Looks like it was started up a little too quickly. Ball was rolling, and so they're going to try it again, because remember, the ball has to be stationary. You can't just sit there and launch a ball that's got rotation on it. So they'll try it again at 22 seconds. Defended all the way back inside Starr's Mill's defensive third, basically. And Caleb Kreitner, as the ball was being dribbled towards center line, defended very well for McIntosh. Last touch by Starr's Mill, and Starr's Mill will just send it away about 20 yards away from net, and that'll do it for the first 40 minutes. The goal by Jacob Watuki has been the difference so far. And 1-0 is the score as both Starr's Mill and McIntosh chase after a region title here on the SDH Boys Game of the Week. After these commercial words, we'll come back. We'll get you ready for the second 40 minutes here from Starr's Mill High School in Panther Stadium. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the SDH Game of the Week. More words after this.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency, or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
I loved playing high school sports. I loved the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, all the pageantry, and I wanted to keep playing. But I graduated. No colleges called, and neither did the pros. So, to stay close to the game I loved, I decided to become a high school official. You know, a referee. When I played high school sports, I learned the importance of integrity, good sportsmanship, and respect for the rules. Now, as a high school official, I get to help model these same values to others. Maybe the colleges and the pros didn't call, but the kids in Georgia did. And now, I'm enjoying the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, and all the pageantry of high school sports all over again.
Interested in becoming a licensed high school official? Go to highschoolofficials.com to learn more and begin the application process.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Georgia's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, contact my friend Steve Apolinski of Apolinski & Associates. He's been representing individuals for over 30 years throughout Georgia and Alabama. Email him at steve@aa-legal.com or call him 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
Welcome back to Panther Stadium. It is halftime. And one goal has been the difference for Starr's Mill as they are chasing after yet another region championship. Girls' side had 2 goals in overtime as Starr's Mill had the early lead on an early penalty shot on the girls' match. Then chipping away, McIntosh did exactly that. They chipped away in the second half, got a goal, got the equalizer, sent it to overtime, and then it was 2 goals in the overtime period. 3-1 your final for McIntosh to get the 3-1 win and the region championship, and they'll get the 1 seed as you hit the postseason, as you're chasing soccer championships here inside the GHSA. And once again here on the boys' side, it has been Jacob Watuki, and plays center mid. What we've seen from Watuki is true to the scouting report. Great vision, pulling the trigger from distance, causing some problems for the back line, caused some problems off of a set piece. Initial contact from Starr's Mill keeper Marcelo Quinones Villela went into his hands, went down on the ground, and there were a handful of folks from both teams that were right where the ball was as Quinones Villela tried to gather it back for Starr's Mill, but Jacob Watuki ended up pushing it past the pile, poking it past everyone and into the back of the net. And that has been the difference so far for McIntosh in their lead over Starr's Mill here, as once again they're chasing after yet another championship. Starr's Mill, if you're unfamiliar with the pedigree of the program under Aaron Buck, Nick Castagna, and head athletic trainer Jason Stevens, state runners-up in 04 and 2019. State semifinalists in 06, 2012, 2013, 2018. So semifinalist in 18, state runner-up in 2019. They were ranked in the top 20 nationally on 4 separate occasions, 2000, 2004, 2010, and that 2019 season where they were state runner-up. They were ranked 13th nationally. And for the most part, the McIntosh defense has kept that offense in check for the first 40 minutes. When you're looking at McIntosh, once again, we mentioned their pedigree. Bunky Colvin, 23rd season as head coach for the boys. Georgia Coach of the Year 6 times. National High School Coach of the Year twice. 7 state championships. Assistant head coach Brian Messer, 22nd season as assistant head coach. Georgia Assistant Coach of the Year 4 times. National Assistant Coach of the Year once with 6 state championships. Goalkeeper coach John Briglovich, also goalkeeper assistant for the Lady Chiefs. We mentioned him in the first match. 15 combined state championships between the boys and the girls. And here's your factoid about McIntosh. Been to the state championship 11 times in the last 16 years. No team in the higher classification has matched those numbers. State championship, you sit there and you look at your brackets, and we would recommend once again going to ghsa.net once the brackets have worked their way through, and you get to find out who's going where, what it's going to look like, what your favorite team is going to do, and what the path is either to 5-Star and Mercer or to McEachern and Cantrell Stadium. You've got to, if you are in this particular classification here in 5A, you have to circle McIntosh. You have to find out where they are when it comes to your particular bracket in 5A, and if you're going to be facing them. That is big when it comes to folks looking at their bracket. 16 of the last 18 years, the winner in whatever classification that you're talking about when it comes to McIntosh, the winner was either McIntosh or the team that beat McIntosh. And so you're looking at 16 of the last 18 years for the answer to that trivia question. So when the brackets come out and you're looking at them at ghsa.net and your favorite soccer websites, track it in 5A, find out where McIntosh is, and then that way you can get everything squared away as to your favorite team's path as they want to chase after a championship. McIntosh, remember, only graduated 5 players from last year, but that was a lot of senior leadership and a lot of goals. Jackson Johnson, who scored the winner in the state final, graduated early to go play in Spain. And so you have a team that has 14 juniors. So McIntosh, dangerous this year, equally so with another year under their belt in 2023. So it's going to be, for anyone who's chasing after a state championship looking at McIntosh, it's going to be through McIntosh, you can pretty much guarantee. You look at the defenses once again, much like we saw in the girls' match. The defenses for both of these sides have been very, very stout. Aaron Buck's defense, very, very stout, keeping McIntosh in check for the most part, save for that one moment in front of net for the Watuki goal. But once again, you're really not seeing a whole lot of play that is taking up a lot of time off the clock. There aren't a whole lot of sustained passing elements that lead to opportunities. It's very, very back and forth from what we've seen here in the first 40 minutes. Very, very challenging, but you get that. You expect that when these two teams come to play because of what this means, this particular match, normally, and then tonight, considering what we're seeing when it comes to region titles, region championships, seedings, 1s and 2s, getting those home matches. That's all the big stuff that we're seeing here so far with these two sides. And anticipating the close match that we've seen so far, did not anticipate anything differently as we're getting you ready for the second 40 minutes. Just a reminder, once again, Starr's Mill came in at 7-7-1. McIntosh came in at 11-4-2. And Starr's Mill actually started their season on a 2-game losing streak, losing to Veterans and Harrison before getting their first win of the season against Carrollton. Then they've split some wins and losses in overtime, losing to Whitewater in overtime earlier this month, winning in double overtime in a shootout against Harris County in region play. Last loss was to Pace Academy 2-0, and that has gotten Starr's Mill and Coach Buck to their record of 7-7-1 as we start the second 40 minutes. Once again, remember, in the double blue, it is Starr's Mill, and they're going here, as you picture the match in your mind's eye, they are going from right to left here in the second 40 minutes here at Panther Stadium. First offensive charge by Starr's Mill, defended, and it was sent away off the back of a defender, and it looks like there's going to be a yellow card from a challenge about 30 yards away from goal. And it's going to be a yellow on Josh Sims. Getting up quickly, Aiden Clary, the freshman defender, who is going to be taking over for the Josh Sims yellow card. So it's going to be a deep throw over on the far side, just outside the 18. Charge in by Starr's Mill. Working quickly, deflected in. There's your equalizer that Starr's Mill had been chasing. Quick throw in, quick shot, deflection, and a goal. And it is credited to Camilo Velez, his 10th goal on the season. 36 seconds into the second half. Velez, goal number 10 off of the throw-in, put in, and we are tied at ones here at Starr's Mill. Velez with the equalizer. Starr's Mill working quickly, working their way down from right to left. They get the equalizer, and so now the thoughts are back in McIntosh's court. Once again, what do you do now that you've had a lead for as long as you've had, and now Starr's Mill has come back with an equalizer? How do you respond in that moment? That's the key question now for Bunky Colvin and the McIntosh Chiefs. Heavy touch from the back. McIntosh keeps possession, though. Ben Slay here on the right-hand side trying to go over the top. Easy grab for Marcy Quinones-Viela. So Camilo Velez, his 10th goal of the season, the leading scorer, first for Starr's Mill in double digits this season, first to 10. The catalyst for Starr's Mill soccer puts it into the back of the net for the Panthers. We're tied at 1 as both of these clubs chase after a region championship once again. Josh Sims checking back in after having sat for the yellow card. And so once again, reminder here in the second 40 minutes, McIntosh will be working in their all-whites from left to right. Starr's Mill once again trying to put a charge in their offense now that they've got a goal on the board. Working down the left-hand side, Ben Slay. The pass was intended for him. Starr's Mill had 3 defenders get there first. So the back and forth continues now for possession and defense. 2.5 minutes in here to the second half. The last touched by McIntosh. So it'll be a throw for the Panthers of Starr's Mill. Slay, the junior forward, chasing the entire 4-man back line from one end of the football field to the other, trying to force a decision by Starr's Mill as they were building out of the back. Velez was looking for Jacobo Velez. Camilo looking for Jacobo. And it ends up being a throw for McIntosh. Up the near side, you get the long throw from Drew Stanton instead of an offensive posture. It's more trying to release down the right-hand channel. Did for a while, got about 10 yards into the attacking half with possession before Starr's Mill started to work their way back the other way. Jacobo Velez, the senior defender, with the throw. Attempted back heel. Trying to keep possession was Simon Ruiz, the sophomore midfielder. Last touched by McIntosh. Camilo Velez once again trying to hop through a lot of the McIntosh traffic. Ball directed back to Jacob Gerson. And it's going to be bowled out to his left. 1-on-2 situation. 2 defenders for Starr's Mill trying to force a decision. And it's worked from left to right across the back line. First pass wasn't there from Carter Groh. He got a second chance. Skipping lines now coming over the top, looking for Watuki as he chases a brace on the night. Has possession over in the far corner. Tries to chip it in toward the top. Headed and just missed. The chance for goal number 2 was not too far away for McIntosh, as we're almost 5 minutes into the second half, and it was Drew Stanton who had the chance. Far post, did not miss by much, as we're tied at 1 still. Ball at the back line for Starr's Mill. Plenty of space now. One Velez to the other, but it goes back to Camilo Velez, who was backtracking defensively. Trying to dodge Caleb Kreitner. He finally does. Dummy was attempted that time. Looked like intended for Braden Brownell. And you hear the Starr's Mill student body, who have now once again moved. But because of their positioning, yes, they're behind their own bench, but they are also in the defensive half from McIntosh here in the second 40 minutes. So McIntosh defensively, and Jacob Gerson will be hearing an earful from the student body of Starr's Mill High School for the remaining 34 minutes, and however much longer we have here with the match. Jacobo Velez sends it all the way back to Marcelo Quinones Villela. Towards center line. And we get a whistle and a foul, no card. As Casper Krabson Jensen looked like he was fouled by Jacob Watuki. And so, right near center line, it's going to be a free kick. High line of confrontation about 25 yards from goal. Big launch over here to the near side, headed away by Drew Stanton, so it's going to be a throw for Starr's Mill. And it looks like Josh Sims will be the one to bring the ball back into play. Toward the top of the box, headed away, and all the way out, tracking it down about 45 yards from goal. Once again, Camilo Velez. Velez got the equalizer to tie us at 1 just a handful of minutes ago. A lot behind that particular pass up and over the top. Ben Slay now. McIntosh with a chance here. Drifting back, going back up and over for a second time. 2 Starr's Mill defenders keeping an eye on the offensive McIntosh. Well pressured from behind to have Aiden Amaya surrender possession. Trying to get it back very, very quickly and successfully was Matthew Yee for McIntosh, and he got wiped out over on the far side. We're going to get a card. Yes, we are. We're getting a card on Starr's Mill. We're going to stop the clock at 32:05 as the substitution comes in. Substitution coming in.
For the Panthers, number 31, Jack Delbeck.
Jack Dombeck wearing 31 tonight instead of the traditional 9. And it looks like Carter Krabson Jensen was the one who was given the yellow. So, set piece, chipped in, looking toward the top of the box, headed over to the far post, trying to regain control as Drew Stanton tried to send it in and sweep it in with the right. Starr's Mill defending once again. So it will be, instead of a Drew Stanton centering pass, it will be a Drew Stanton throw as he backs himself up to traditionally lane number 8. Center F going into all of the argy-bargy that's in front of the net, asking for no more pushing and shoving by everybody who is trying to establish some kind of position. Asking for no more of it. Stanton, standard run up. Looking right in the middle of the 6, punched away. Trying to keep possession. McIntosh, they don't do it. Well defended by Starr's Mill, sent all the way out towards center circle. And Nick Kukutsis is there to corral it for Jacob Gerson. Carter Groh working forward on the near side. Into the middle. Sent away by Velez. Headed down once again by McIntosh, trying to regain possession. Caleb Kreitner. 1-on-2 by Starr's Mill, and they're going to call a foul. I think they're going to call it on Kreitner. 10 yards in their own defensive half. It'll be a free kick for Starr's Mill. Coming up on 10 minutes gone. Sent a long way. Big hop. Bodies colliding just in front of Gerson. And you're going to get a foul called on Starr's Mill, much to the chagrin of what the Starr's Mill fans thought about that ball being sent all the way in, close to the 6. Another great opportunity there. And you're going to get a foul call on Starr's Mill over on the far side as Matthew Yee hit the turf. Match being called a little more tightly here in the second 40. Had a couple of yellows handed out so far in this match. Once again, not necessarily a surprise, considering what's at stake and the rivalry that this normally encases. Working down the left-hand side, it was Matthew Yee initially. Build up, sprint, sent in with the left, easy grab for Marcelo Quinones Viella. Looked like Judd Denny with the left, and Marcy, as he's called by the student body and the fans here at Starr's Mill, had it tracked all the way. And Denny put a lot behind it. He actually lost his footing after his follow-through. Substitutions for Starr's Mill. Chris Turner is in. Casper Krabson Jensen is back in.
Back in for the Panthers, number 8, Casper Jensen.
And so Simon Ruiz, the sophomore midfielder, getting in some quality minutes. Foul called over on the far side on McIntosh as we're coming up on 12 minutes to go here. Or 12 minutes gone here in the second half, 52 overall. Long switch to get things working over here to the near side. In the left-hand channel, Jacobo Velez, pass to Camilo. And you're going to get another foul on Matthew Yee. Matthew Yee not a fan of that particular whistle. Velez gets the ball off the quick restart, chips it in right on. Tracking it all the way was Jacob Gerson, the sophomore. Low to the ground, well in front. Easy save with 27 and a half minutes to go. Gerson up into the air. First header missed, but the convenient bounces are there. Watuki comes down with it. Gets it back. Tries to cut it to the inside. Well defended as the pass was intended for Drew Stanton, who was screaming down the middle channel. And it's going to be a corner taken over on the far side by Watuki. So let's see what kind of pushing and clattering and grabbing and everything else that's going to be on everybody's mind here. Clad in McIntosh white and the double blue of Starr's Mill. Matthew Yee is there short with Watuki over at the corner flag. That's where it's taken. Training ground. Big, quick, and in! Flag stayed down. Quick restart. The back and forth with Watuki and with Matthew Yee. It's sent in at 26:22 to go. And McIntosh back on the board at 2-1. the quick restart shortened the angle just a little bit. Watuki with about an 18-inch pass to Matthew Yee. Yee set it up on a tee for him, sent into the area, sent into the 6, and it makes its way through all of the traffic, and it goes in. McIntosh with the lead now, 2-1, 14 minutes into the second half. Jacobo Velez trying to charge through the McIntosh defense, won by Caleb Kreitner. Kreitner to Carter Groh, all the way back to Gerson. Gerson towards center line. Volleyed back by Starr's Mill over on the far touch line. And ushering it out was Nick Kukutsis. Substitution coming in for McIntosh. Caden Coffey, the senior midfielder, making his first appearance on the day.
And for McIntosh, number 17, Caden Coffey.
And it looks like Ben Slay will be getting a bit of a breather here with 25 and a half to go. McIntosh trying to charge over up the left-hand side. They touch it last. And Judd Denny, I give him full credit for trying to slow things down and introducing a second ball into the throw-in scenario. Hit the Starr's Mill player right where when he was trying to throw it in, just to try to distract and slow things down a little bit. Defense working for McIntosh on the other side. Watuki trying to go over the top. Matthew Yee at a full sprint. Well defended there at the back by Mason Stallings. And it goes back to Marcy Quinones-Villela. Picked off again by McIntosh as the back and forth continues. Yee sweeps it to his left. Working down the left-hand side, Denny step over, stood up nicely by Starr's Mill. Shoulders off the initial defense, but they're going to call Denny for a foul, and he can't believe it. So coming up on 24 minutes to go, Starr's Mill chasing an equalizer again after getting the game-tying goal 36 seconds into the second half. Camilo Velez with his 10th of the year evened everything up at 1. And then off a corner, McIntosh gets the lead back at 2-1. And a push in the back gives another free kick opportunity about 50 yards from goal over on the far side for McIntosh. Push in the back affected. Jacob Watuki sent right into the top of the 6th. Header through, spilled, but it ends up going over the end line, and it's going to be last touched by Quinones-Villela. It's going to be a corner for McIntosh. McIntosh working quickly, sensing the momentum that they have. In with the left toward the top of the 6th. Turn, little help up and over, and you can't quite control it. Was Caden Coffey with his first touch. Ends up leaning back and sending it through the football goalposts for a goal kick. 22 and a half minutes to go. Starr's Mill once again chasing an equalizer. Down 1-0, tied it at 1 very early here in the second 40 minutes. McIntosh off a corner. Couple of minutes ago, lead again 2-1. Starr's Mill having to fight uphill once again as both Aaron Buck and his Starr's Mill Panthers and Bunky Colvin and the McIntosh Chiefs chasing after a region title, a 1 seed, and a boatload of home games. No foul called. Starr's Mill was looking for a foul. Chested down. Trouble getting there just in time as it was chested by Drew Stanton hit toward Jacob Gerson. Gerson grabs it as two Starr's Mill players were trying to crash the box and try to distract Gerson from grabbing a hold of it. Great command by the sophomore to hang on to it, to keep possession for McIntosh. Watuki drops it back to Aiden Amaya. And going down was Matthew Yee, and playing advantage, and we're going to bring it back to the spot of the foul. Matthew Yee took a big hit about 40 yards from goal. Center ref consulting with his AR about the spot of the foul. And it's going to be from about 40 yards away, fairly straight on to goal. Yeah, Matthew Yee hit the deck pretty hard. Advantage was played briefly, and then the whistle was taken. 21 minutes to go. So we're looking at about 40 yards from goal here. Far side high school football hash mark. Chipped in right on to Marcy Quinones Viella. Viella dribbling from the near side of the box to the far before he puts foot into football. Goes in toward center circle. McIntosh wins it away. Crabson Jensen gets there for Starr's Mill to gain possession back for the Panthers. Good through ball, but it's picked off. Good anticipation that time on defense by McIntosh. Sent all the way down inside the 18. Watuki was in pursuit, but Quinones Viella was there. And he will send it and launch it with the right into center circle. Over here to the near touchline with space. Chipped forward, but chested down nicely to regain possession by McIntosh. Was worked forward. And the back and forth continues as Carter Groh looks over each shoulder, trying to see if there's anybody from Starr's Mill in pursuit. The answer is no, so he'll let it go over the inline goal kick. Coming in is Alton Hoti for his first appearance of the second 40 minutes. And it looks like Judd Denny is checking out briefly. Denny's put in quality work on both sides of the ball tonight as we're now coming up on 19 minutes to go. Yeah, we mentioned all the juniors that are a part of this roster. Juniors making impacts now. By the time you get to region play, if they're new to the system of Bunkie Colvin, they're not playing like juniors anymore. They're not playing like first-year players. They're playing like those advanced second-year players and seniors and such. Over the top looking for Matthew Yee down the left-hand side, there to defend Starr's Mill. Sent forward Watuki on the duel. Lost the duel, distracted the Starr's Mill Panther player that was there with him in the process. Ball rolled back to Gerson, so Gerson will send it toward center circle, up and over. Header won by Starr's Mill. Flicked forward by Herman Hernandez. Through ball, once again, looking for Kreitner, I believe. Last touch by Starr's Mill. 18 minutes to go. And we'll keep an eye on Judd Denny, who is stretching out on the track. Long throw from Drew Stanton, as is wont to do, down inside the 6, wanting to turn, deflected once, twice, trying to settle, and looks like we're going to get a handball call on McIntosh inside the area, so it's going to go back to Starr's Mill. It's 17 and a half minutes to go. And since the ball was cleared all the way down to 20 yards away from the McIntosh goal, they had to find another ball to start the action back again quickly. Camilo Velez on the turn down the left-hand side. Velez with a lot of space. Great work to give to Ali Othman, the junior midfielder. Othman tried to have a centering pass with his left. It was defended well by McIntosh, and it's going to be a throw. Luke Turpin is in, and Ricardo Lecoq is now in as well for their appearances. Josh Sims around the perimeter, going from left-hand channel to right with possession. Krabson Jensen over at the far, about 20 yards away, cuts it back just inside the 18. Flick blocked and sent away by McIntosh, but not all the way out. Deflected twice up into the air by Caleb Kreitner. Volleyed forward with a lot of authority, looking for Alton Hoti. But Starr's Mill back with it. Flicked in and volleyed in more than anything else. Volleyed in with a lot of authority. And Jacob Gerson is there, safely inside his area, coming up on 16 minutes to go. Gerson short-hopped his target in Caden Coffey over on the left-hand side in the attack. Players being stood up now as the ball goes back and forth, and you're going to get a foul as Hoti was trying to dribble about 40 yards away from net, and Luke Turpin called for the foul, and Turpin's going to get a yellow card. Wondering why he was getting the yellow, but he got one. And Turpin will go. Aiden Clary, the freshman defender, will check back in. Clary had some quality minutes when he came in as a substitute in the first 40. So about 35 yards away from goal on the near side, high school football hash mark. Two-man wall for Starr's Mill. Looks like both Velez's, but the wall is split right on, up and over, and through the football goalposts by Matthew Yee. Goal kick at about 15:35 to go. Quinones Viella into the air, center circle. Watuki wins it by the header. But McIntosh with possession. Drew Stanton all by himself on the right-hand side. No one within about 10 yards of him. Then he finally backtracks. 2-on-1, 3-on-2 defending by Starr's Mill to keep any kind of a McIntosh rush from happening. Ball gets a convenient hop as it's sent into the area, picked up by Quinones Viella. And Hoti was the target that was racing in to try to head the ball off and look for goal number 3 for McIntosh, but Quinones Viella got there first. Charging up the right-hand side, Starr's Mill. Flick, continue down the right-hand channel. Stanton is there for McIntosh. Tried to send it out of play, but it ended up being deflected off the Starr's Mill player and kept in. So the Panthers kept possession. Tried to continue to work it down the right-hand side off of Watuki, and it's going to be a throw for the Panthers at 14-10. About 25 yards from goal. First person to get there was in a McIntosh jersey. But last touch by Starr's Mill as they were fighting forward on the end line. It'll be a goal kick for Gerson. As McIntosh is more than content to work a little clock when they can. You're up 2-1. You're coming up on 13 and a half minutes to go. You've been fighting your way back more than once. You were down 1-0, came back to tie it at 1 if you're Starr's Mill, and you're having to chase an equalizer now with 13:15 to go. Hoti tried to drive into the 18. It was knocked away by 2 Starr's Mill defenders. Ends up in the hands of Quinones Viella. Rolls it out on the right-hand side. Hoti closed ground very, very quickly along with Aiden Amaya, trying to win the ball back from the Panthers. And possession's lost. It'll be a throw for McIntosh, as we're now under 13 minutes. Jacobo Velez, the senior defender, having to stretch out his calves a little bit here. Day started in the 70s, but by the end of the night, they're saying it'll be in the mid-40s. So you have this kind of a shock to the system, and you're running as much as you are, and 12 and a half minutes to go after a match that is as hotly contested as this one is. You try to sneak in those stretches whenever you possibly can. And McIntosh, once again, working clock a little bit, changing who's going to be the person who's going to throw the ball back into play, waiting for Drew Stanton to work his way close to the far corner flag. And literally he's about 3 feet away from the far corner flag from the point of entry. Up into the air, headed back, and kept in. Centered back in toward the top of the box, chested down. Caden Coffey tried to settle it and send it on net, but launched forward by Nick Kukutsis as Caleb Kreitner was trying to chase it down with 11 and a half minutes to go. And the pressure from Kreitner creates a corner situation for Matthew Yee here on the near side. So Yee, with no one around him, won't be short. Kind of getting some folks sneaking in a little bit toward the top of the 18. Launched, cleared. Great idea off the training ground by Aiden Amaya. You could see Amaya sneaking in toward the elbow on the near side as Yee wanted to take the corner. Amaya got the volley in. It was right on net. Great training ground stuff from Bunky Colvin and McIntosh, but it ends up right on target as we're under 11 minutes to go now. And now working forward again. Starr's Mill, chested down, but not to an intended target. Caleb Kreitner grabs it. Give to Watuki. Watuki back to the right-hand side. Matthew Yee trying some fancy footwork to get around the defense. Doesn't quite work, but the pursuit coming from the back end, Carter Groh, does as they try to keep possession. Once again, work from Caleb Kreitner inside the area. Bumped, but not off the ball. Kreitner hit the deck. And they're going to call a foul on Kreitner instead as he tried to reach out and draw contact. I'm going to say the foul was on Kreitner in that instance as we're now under 10 minutes to go. Stop the clock at 9:47. And it looks like Alton Hoti has been given a talking to by center ref very, very quickly. Was given the no more, the wave of the hands. So the clock begins anew at 9:45 and counting. Starr's Mill chasing after an equalizer. Flick forward. Yee trying to maintain control, trying to dance through three Starr's Mill players. Can't quite do it. Well defended that time by Caleb Kreitner as Starr's Mill tried to work up their left-hand side. Didn't quite do it. So it ends up being a throw. Kreitner defending. Carter Groh is there, trying to gain possession here. Left behind by Jacobo Velez, wiped out by Aiden Amaya. Set piece from about 32 yards. McIntosh is saying that Aiden Amaya did not foul. And it looks like injury sub. Jacobo Velez will check out quickly, and it looks like Luke Turpin will check back in. So setting up quickly, Camilo Velez from 30. Launch, short hop, ushered away, nicely done. Gerson had an eye on it the entire time, and instead of having trouble with a short hop. He just ushered it away with both hands off to his left. Great presence of mind there by the sophomore to sit there, take the hop, and shovel the ball off to the side with both hands. Great control and presence. Great idea there by Jacob Gerson. As we're now coming up on 8 minutes to go. McIntosh leading by the score of 2-1. Once again, winner here gets a region championship. Losers the 2 seed as you get your brackets ready in 5A for the GHSA soccer playoffs. Carter Grow with the long throw down the right-hand side, down the near. Flick down the left-hand side, and here comes in toward the 6, cleared away. Great work from Braden Brownell with the touch, trying to create something at the top of the box and at the top of the 6 as well. Didn't quite happen. Flick second time through by Starr's Mill, as Matthew Yee and Braden Brownell were both chasing. Brownell was the one to touch it last, coming up on 7 minutes to go. Matthew Yee will yield, and Carter Grow will launch it forward down the right-hand side. Krabson Jensen through center circle, over to the right. Jude Turpin past his intended target and ushered over the inline. Goal kick by McIntosh. Very savvy there. Once again, you're under 7 minutes to go. You've got a 1-goal lead. If you're Jacob Gerson, what you do is you wander over 20 yards over to the long jump pit. Keep an eye on the ball that you're wanting to send back into play, but you go and get it yourself. You don't ask for any help. Set the ball down, 6.5 and counting. Send all of your defenders forward so you can introduce the ball into play. And Gerson does. One hop past Watuki, and you're going to get a foul in the build-up on McIntosh. Looks like the foul was on Kukutsis. And so it's going to be a set piece, or free kick from about 50. Over on the right-hand side, going far post, up and over everybody. And the Starr's Mill faithful want a foul on Herman Hernandez, as it looked like Brownell was going for elevation, trying to head it back into the box. Substitution for McIntosh. Ben Slay is checking back in, and that will do it temporarily for junior Alton Hoti. And once again, taking time. Gerson down to 5:10. Towards center circle. Header won by Krabson Jensen. They're going to call him for over the back. So Starr's Mill will have to retreat. Foul happening right at center line as we're now under 5 minutes. Forward with the right. Looking into the box. Basically a triple team there for Starr's Mill, so Watuki couldn't get a brace. And then once again, taking their time. Last touch by Starr's Mill. You're at 4:25. Carter Grow launches it down the right-hand side. Convenient hop. Slay tried to send it in with the right. Didn't get full contact with it. Popped it up into the air, but it was last touch by Starr's Mill. 4:10. Initial confusion as to who was going to put the throw back into play. McIntosh bench said, Ben Slay, you go ahead and do it. Line drive, headed back out once again at 3:50. So, ball gets rolled from Judd Denny. The swapping out of folks who want to throw the ball in goes to Carter Grow this time. And we're coming up on 3.5 to go as Slay tried to sweep it in with the right. I'm going to say it was last touched by McIntosh that time. I thought that it was a McIntosh throw. It is. Starr's Mill just trying to be helpful. Braden Brownell trying to mark the spot of the throw. And that means that Drew Stanton will line up to lane 8. Get his 22-foot run up. Throws it right in toward the top of the 6th. Headed flick, just missed. Didn't miss by much. Caden Coffey with the opportunity there. Goes far post. Didn't miss by a whole lot. Jacobo Velez checking back in for Starr's Mill. And checking back out, Luke Turpin for the final 2.5 minutes. Trying to find a ball once again, taking time off the clock. You're up a goal. Carter Gross sends it down into the corner. Kreitner. Matthew Yee. Put it in the possession of your dribblers for the remaining 2 minutes. They tried to. Yee lost possession. Pressured from Starr's Mill. Charging all the way up the right-hand side past center line. Watuki marking. Defense is there. Gets past Herman Hernandez. And they're going to say it was last touched by Starr's Mill. So Hernandez, about 25 yards from his own goal, works his way up the far touchline. Just chipped and sent all the way down now as we're coming up on 90 seconds. Quinones Villela launches into it, gets it about 30 yards away from goal. And the center ref says that the AR had to flag up. I believe that's what the whistle from the center ref was all about. So as we're now coming up on a minute to go, that whistle could not have come at a less opportune time for Starr's Mill as they're chasing after an equalizer. Stanton. Big first hop in the attacking half. Joust was won by Hernandez. Starr's Mill having to work quickly here. Turn by Laycock. And it looks like you're going to get a foul on Starr's Mill as we're coming up on 30 seconds. Or at least it was last touched by Starr's Mill. Starr's Mill thinking otherwise. Sent forward by Stanton, launched. Laycock trying to turn, being guarded by Kreitner. I'm going to call Kreitner for yet another foul. Last chance to dance here with 15 seconds. Set piece from 50 plus. We got a player down. So at 14 seconds, there's a player down over on the far side. Everybody forward for Starr's Mill here, and it's a Starr's Mill player. Everybody forward, last chance to dance. I think it was Crabson Jensen. And so Wyatt Stevens checking in. So Wyatt Stevens, once the clock restarts at 14 seconds, high line about 25 yards away from goal. Stevens, line drive toward the top of the box, cleared by McIntosh, and that should do it. There's no one in net. 4, 3, 2, 1. Region champs McIntosh, they get both matches at Starr's Mill. A 3-1 win on the girls' side, 2-1 win on the boys' side, and your region champs in Region 2 5A are the McIntosh Chiefs, and the Panthers of Starr's Mill are protecting the victory bell. And here comes the student body and the officials, by the way. The center ref and the ARs are standing in front of the victory bell. For those not familiar with the layout here at Starr's Mill, on the scoreboard side, in addition to their large matrix board, there is a victory bell over by the flag stand. The girls' team wanted to ring the victory bell. They were stopped. The boys' team from McIntosh wanted to ring the Starr's Mill victory bell. They were stopped. And the ARs and the center ref are all standing at the victory bell so the visitors don't get to ring it on the wins.
And that's our final today here from Starr's Mill High School.
And so 2-1 is your final on the boys' side. So it's a clean sweep in Region 2 5A for the McIntosh Chiefs as they head into the postseason as the number 1 seed out of Region 2 here in Fayette County. Once again, thanks to everyone here at Starr's Mill and thanks to everyone at McIntosh that made this doubleheader possible, all the information, all the coaches, all of the emails that were sent back and forth and the phone calls and texts and such. Thanks to make this broadcast happen on both terms, on both teams and both matches. Fantastic work. Great to be working with Starr's Mill and with McIntosh here for our last matches of the season in the regular season for the SDH Games of the Week. And once again, it was great to be here for the Battle of the Troops, the 12th annual Battle of the Troops with these two region rivals, these two county rivals going at it for a full 80 minutes and then some, another 20 on the girls' side. Battle for the Troops this year, helping out Camp Southern Ground. Jacob Watuki with the goal that made it 1-0 off a rebound, and then Camilo Velez gets his 10th of the year to tie it at 1 very early in the second half, and then the game winner, 26-22, left in regulation off a corner. McIntosh gets the win 2-1. 3-1 for the girls, 2-1 for the boys. McIntosh, your region champs here in Region 2 5A. That has been a great regular season for those of us here at SDH for the SDH Games of the Week. Thanks for hanging out with us. Once again, reminder for those of you listening to us live on Thursday, Friday, no live show from 9 o'clock in the morning. There will be taped content because Jason has to fly with Jeff Lorenowitz and the team up to D.C. for Atlanta United and D.C. United. Once the World Cup draw has been completed, we'll have programming there analyzing that as well. So just wanted to wish you all a safe and happy weekend, a safe and happy World Cup draw, and play it safe, everybody. There's your region champs celebrating on the field at Starr's Mill. Clean sweep for McIntosh tonight here in Fayette County.